What's up, dreamers and believers? It's me, Glittering Chesh, and today we're doing a movie review of a fairy tale, of course. Which fairy tale, you might ask? The one, the only, Beauty and the Beast. Except, not this beast, and this beast? That's right, today we're doing a double feature. Because tell me why I own one of these on DVD and I still keep mixing them up. Especially with these alternate covers, like, can you tell which one this one's for? Now, some of you might be thinking, is it really fair to call these mockbusters? It's not like Disney owns fairy tales. Come on, look at them. Look at when they were released. Look at other tellings of Beauty and the Beast. Of course they're doing this to profit off of Disney. And that's not me glazing Disney. I hate the corporation. I'm glazing the animators and the artists that brought this masterpiece to life, okay? Aaron Blaise, I love you. Snow Bear changed my life. That being said, we can't do a one-to-one comparison with the Disney movie. Not only would it not be fair, but Disney changed so much it just wouldn't make sense. That's why we're doing two bootlegs for the price of one. We're going to watch one movie until we get to a certain plot point, then we're going to switch. We will analyze the differences and how they relate to the original story, and when applicable, I'll bring up the Disney version, but don't get too excited. The two movies we're watching today are by Golden Films and Goodtimes Entertainment, respectively. And we're going to start with the Golden Films version. You can find both movies on YouTube for free, and most of the Golden Films movies are actually on Tubi, which is where I'll be watching it. So this movie opens with 3 ghosts, which isn't too far off from the original story. Instead of having furniture servants, they were like spirits that would move things invisibly. So it only makes sense to humanize them, similar to what the Disney movie did. The thing is, we're not in the story of Beauty and the Beast quite yet. We're in a framing device. So these ghosts are aware that Beauty and the Beast is a story. So then they hide from someone coming down the hallway, and they fly into the story of Beauty and the Beast. Who opens the book but the Beast himself? Implying that either this book tells the future, or the book is entirely fictional, and the Beast is still a beast to this day. So here we meet Beauty, and the narration is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here.
The soul within Beauty was just as beautiful as the rest of her.
We are told that she is a kind and beautiful soul, and we'll see her being nice later. We can't really compare her to Belle, because these movies, they tend to be very by the book, and Disney likes to mix things up a little bit. So I'm going to try not to compare these two. She has 3 sisters, like in the original story. Well, the number of siblings varies based on the telling, but she always has at least 2 sisters that are vain and spoiled, and Disney actually planned to have these sisters, but removed them because it's too similar to Cinderella. Depending on the versions of Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella that you look at, you can see that they're actually very, very similar beginnings. They're like this. And then their father comes in, and he is a doormat, as you can already see. He's pathetic, and I hate his voice.
Girls, that's enough for you all.
The scene very abruptly does a crossfade into Beauty at night in the garden, and she's being spied on by the ghosts. So the ghosts are like actively pushing for this kidnapping to happen. Yes, they know that it'll break the curse, and we as the audience who are familiar with the story know that it'll break the curse, but going in not knowing this is wild. Why did the ghosts care about the Beast so much? We've only seen them be terrified of him, even outside of the story, and they can go wherever they want, seemingly. Why don't they just leave? Why are they stuck in the castle preparing meals for him? The music up until now has been orchestral, and it almost feels like I'm watching a silent film because it is just going and going and going.
There, you see her? Did I tell you or what? She's something.
And it doesn't feel ambient, it doesn't feel like it's in the background, but like now, suddenly we have this very different sounding music. Kind of feels like they're about to start singing.
It's him.
So the Beast comes in and they are hiding from him. They are terrified. They're not just shrinking, cowering. They are running and hiding from him. This one's stupid. We saw him go through a wall earlier and he goes in the soup. So here's our first look at the Beast. No horns, floppy ears. He looks way more dog-like. He's got the underbite but no fangs. They took a lot of elements from this Beast, but he doesn't have the je ne sais quoi. Overall, not a bad Beast design, but very derivative. Also to note that he's already wearing his formal attire, which most versions of the Beast do wear. Most versions of the Beast have him be, like, nice and generous. I mean, he does, like, depending on the version, he either wants to kidnap Beauty or just kill her. And then once he, like, has her, he's sonedly quite nice. But from the beginning in this, just like the Disney version, he is meanie. He's a meanie. I don't like him.
One day, someday, that sadness is gonna eat him up till there's nothing left.
So there doesn't seem to be a time limit so much as he's just really depressed. I don't like that the Disney version has a time limit. I would rather they fall in love naturally. I mean, as natural as a kidnapping can get. Look, I never said the Disney version was perfect, okay?
It's gonna make me cry.
Oh, what don't make you cry?
These sound effects are wild. So we see Beauty in her rose garden in her pretty yellow dress, and she's singing the song about
as a star that is falling.
It reminds me a lot of Far Longer Than Forever from The Swan Princess.
Fear not,
For a second, I thought the voice was coming from the horse.
your heart knows no
It's just the
way.
prince. This is a dream sequence and she's dreaming of a prince. This is from the book. And they fly away on a winged horse, and that's just beautiful. We haven't seen very much of Beauty as a character yet. We just know that she is kind and she yearns for a prince. This movie actually came out a few years after the Disney version, so that's why they have so many ways to take influence from it. That prince looks pretty familiar. That song went on for way too long, and it wasn't very good.
Beauty, come quickly! The storm's getting worse by the second!
My garden will be destroyed. I have to see it.
Oh, so Beauty has 3 character traits. She's nice, she yearns for a prince, and she's dumb. So the storm has destroyed their massive house. Wow, they really live in the middle of nowhere. Like, you can't even see a village from there. So Beauty's father goes off to check on his ships to see if there was any damage. And of course, the sisters all ask for lavish gifts, and Beauty only asks for a single red rose to replant her garden.
Much like the looks of those skies.
Why is he leaving if it's still storming outside?
Oh my, oh my.
So we cut back to Beauty and her sisters, and they're singing about how they want more stuff.
More, give us more is what we're living for.
And it's honestly not so bad. It's more entertaining than the last song we saw. So the father comes across the beast's castle. Finally! We're like a third of the way through the movie, and I think now's the time to switch to the Goodtimes version. What was that? Golden Films and Goodtimes Entertainment present. You're telling me they're both Golden Films movies? Are these not competitors? What's Golden Films got to do with Goodtimes? Its most recognized line of products with a series of low-budget, traditionally animated films from companies such as Jetlag Productions, Golden Films, and I don't know how to pronounce that. So these movies aren't competitors. They're cousins. So this movie opens with a song and a flash forward to what we will see later in the movie, I assume, which is Beauty and the Beast dancing. I also see a little fairy there. There was a fairy in the original story. 2, actually. So I can't wait to see where that goes. So this beast he's way uglier than the other one. His whole face is flesh-colored. He's got more of a pig nose than a cat nose. He does have the fangs. I'm noticing all of these have an underbite. It's hard to tell what of this is fur and what of it is skin. It kind of just looks like he has really dark circles. Is that fur? What's going on here? But he's also dressed in a blue suit. I think that this was also inspired by the Disney movie, but it came out way closer to it. And he doesn't have the horns, but he does have little ears. I think it's skin. He has like a weird, wrinkly snout. Adapted from the classic tale Beauty and the Beast by Jacob Grimm. By Grimm? Okay, so, I mean, like most fairy tales, there's no like true original, but it's widely believed that the original is by Villeneuve, if I pronounced that correctly. And then there was an abridged version by Beaumont. I think there was also a Perrault version that preceded the Villeneuve, but I could be wrong. But if there's a Grimm version, The Lady and the Lion, that sounds very close. A merchant who had 3 daughters was once setting out upon a journey, but before he went, he asked each daughter what gift he should bring back for her. The eldest wished for pearls, the second for jewels, but the third said, "Dear father, bring me a rose." So the Grimm brothers did to Beauty and the Beast? No, she immediately agrees to marry him, and him and his court of lions immediately turn back into humans. And then they go on a whole separate adventure where he becomes a bird and she has to follow him around the world. But that's interesting. So here we meet Beauty and her sisters. Her sisters have just come back from a shopping trip and they are mean to her. Mean to my girl, okay. And so far she has said nothing really, but we hear from her sisters that she hangs out in the poor section of the city. That's lovely. That is more of a character trait than just flouncing around in your rose garden. I like this Beauty already. And here we see her father and, oh look, this version gives her her brothers. Wonderful. So this time, instead of a storm, he was scammed out of all of his money.
I hired them all myself. They're very, very good men. They're thieves, Father.
This one low-key reminds me of a human Lumiere. I think it's the nose.
Tell him, Nathan. Tell him. All 3 ships are a month overdue. We've had reports they were caught in a typhoon in the China Sea.
So the ships were actually caught in a storm, but like farther away. So only the ships were affected. Still though, there's nothing in the ships and they do end up having to move to a smaller house. I like this version of the father. He's a little bit naive, but he is an honest man and he gives people what they're due. So Beauty tells her father that she was out giving the less fortunate food, which is wonderful. But when her father tells her that they might soon become poor, she has absolutely no reaction. This seems to be a trend with her. So we know that she's kind, generous, and doesn't really respond to things she's told. So it cuts to them living in a farmhouse, and they have chickens and a field, and the sisters are still doing nothing. They're sleeping the whole morning away. Relatable. They have the nerve to ask Beauty for breakfast, and Beauty does it. I don't know why she puts up with them. She seems to have a doting father around. I don't know why she doesn't, stand up for herself. That sounds victim-blamey. I don't want to blame the victim. All I'm saying is, in Cinderella, the stepmother was just as mean as the stepsisters were. Beauty is bringing lunch to the men in the fields when they find out that one of the ships has finally docked. And of course, the sisters ask for nice things, and Belle asks for a rose.
Whoa, horsey!
Whoa, horsey! There's nothing in the ship. We all saw this coming. And now Beauty's father has finally come across the castle. We are 14 minutes in. So far, this movie has been a lot calmer. It's been nice. It just lets everything breathe. And the other movie, so far, it has had a lot of slapstick and musical numbers that aren't really needed or good. But now that we're at the same point in the movie, let's switch back.
Excuse me? Is there someone here?
The fun music is starting up again.
Where is your spirit? Where is your verve?
Where is your moxie?
You're much too reserved.
We might actually have a good song on our hands. Hey, that's Bootleg Lumiere. Nice. Those crabs look like the ones from Little Mermaid. And we're back to the regular soundtrack. It was fun while it lasted. So the father eats and he stays the night and he comes out and his horse is outfitted with a beautiful carriage and saddle. The door to the carriage magically opens, telling him to, leave. And he gets in the carriage, but then he stops and gets out and he grabs a rose. No, the magical castle is surely shooing you out. Get out! So the beast shows up summoning lightning and he says, "You will die for this." Little more extreme than the Disney version, but right on par for the original story. So of course, the father explains that his daughters wanted lavish gifts except for Beauty, who only wanted a single red rose? That's not even red. Why mention wanting a red rose if you're not going to animate one? So in this, it's actually the ghosts that suggest that Beast take Beauty captive. Because like I said, they've been watching her. Not so different from the original story where this was all premeditated, but the difference in that was the good fairy was also watching over Beauty, and she figured this would be advantageous for both parties. The father refuses, of course, so now he's told he's going to be in the dungeon if he doesn't give Beauty.
Take him away!
Take him away! Rah! Rah! So they take him to the dungeon and they send the horse home. That's good. The horse didn't do anything wrong. This Beauty does the same thing that Belle does in the movie. She sees the horse come back and she's like, okay, take me to him. He must be in trouble. The sisters plead for Beauty to stay because who else will take care of them? She wouldn't be able to for long. It's not like she has a job. But anyway, she takes a page out of the other Beauty's book and says nothing as she rides off. Before anything happens, she's already eyeing up the castle like, I want to live there. They're still living in the broken house. They haven't moved yet. I really thought they'd move. They emphasize that the cat falls down, but on its butt. I think that cat's not really a cat, because as we all know, cats land on their feet. So the ghosts can become furniture with skin. Ah, I don't like that.
Howdy, guys!
Quiet, nope, stools don't
Come
talk.
sit on me!
Oh, Father, I'm so glad you aren't hurt.
Let's go, quickly, before he finds us.
My appearance is alarming, isn't it? I fear that's beyond my control.
Finally, Beauty and the Beast are introduced, and he's like, I'm sorry I'm so ugly. I think we've watched long enough. Let's switch back. Alright, back to Good Times. So far, we've only had one musical sequence that would be the intro, but like, maybe this one also has a Be Our Guest scene. Coming back to this movie is so refreshing because it has an original score. You can tell because you can hear the words of the opening song like in the notes.
You'd never think to look at him, how beautiful he seems to me.
I've never heard such silence. Have you, girl?
Stable door opens, immediately welcoming in the horse. That's good. I'm glad that this father is not left unaware of whether his horse will be okay.
Yeah, I know I must have lost my mind. But that's what it is. Yeah, it's too much pressure, see? Yeah, first the money, then the ships, and then... wonder after wonder.
I hear piano. Are they gonna start singing? And the doors open on their own, letting him in. So there is no dinner theater, but they do pull the chair open for him, make sure he knows that he is allowed to eat this food, which is very nice. Some versions just have the table already be set and he just kind of eats his fill. So I'm glad they make it clear that he's allowed to be here. The napkin lifts up and then we get a shot of his crotch, and I thought this was going to go like Ghostbusters for a second. I forgot napkins go in laps. I forgot. That's my bad. He says he's done after he's taken a bite out of an apple and left it there. Finish your apple, man. Father spends the night in the castle and he loudly announces that he's going to bed. And then in the morning, he loudly announces his thank yous and that he must be leaving. He doesn't even try to justify, oh, he's been so generous already, he won't miss a rose. He's just like, Beauty asked for a rose, I'll just take that. And then a storm blows in and he's grabbing behind, and oh, the first shot that we see of the Beast that isn't a flash forward is his dick. And then his face. I'm not sure which is worse. His hands are very strange, like they are light on the front. Is that skin or is that fur? Does he just have fleshy palms? And I'm disappointed that none of these beasts have paw pads. So the Beast roars at the father, all scary-like, and the father's like, please, the rose is for my daughter, Beauty. And then the Beast about comes his pants by the name Beauty. He's like, holy shit. A woman who's beautiful? That's just redundant. All women are beautiful. And this time he comes up with it himself. Beauty must come in his place to die? In the Disney movie, it's prisoner for prisoner. In the Golden Films movie, it's prisoner for death. But in this, it's death for death. Why is he so enthralled by her beauty if he just intends to kill her? Does he get off on that? That's worse than the kidnapping. God. I really don't like this guy.
If neither you nor Beauty return, I shall seek you out and destroy you both.
If neither one of you comes back, I will kill you both. So one of the boys raises the appropriate question, why don't we just go and kill the beast? And the other boy's like, what do you mean we?
Now I know I've done the right thing by letting him kill me instead of...
He gave it away! He was ready to be sent off to his death, and he told his sons to take after his daughters, and Beauty brings him lunch, and he's like, now I know I've done the right thing by not letting you die in my place. Bro, well now look what you've done.
It's Beauty, isn't it? The beast said she could go in your place. It's all your fault. You had to have a rose.
She should go instead of you.
Yeah.
Girls, that's enough.
And the sisters have the gall to be like, it's Beauty's fault that Dad's dying. She had to have a rose. Bro, that's the only pushback we've gotten from the father so far. Girls, that's enough. They're pinning your death on her. Like, be a little bit more like, hey, the fuck? This is interesting. In the other story, they were like, what will we do without Beauty? Oh my god. And in this one, they're like, what will we do without father? Beauty, go fuck off and die. Which is really interesting because this is the one where she did do things for them. The other one, she just kind of stood around and pet her cat. This Beauty is also a little bit too preoccupied with how nice the castle is. She's about to be sent off to her death. And she's just like, oh, this is nice! So now, Beauty and the Beast have finally met, and Beauty is, like, scared, obviously. She cowers a little behind her father. And the Beast is like, you chose to come here, right? And she's like, yes, I gladly sacrifice myself for my father. And then the Beast is like, and she's kind to fuck! So he, takes her and tells the father to, like, sleep the night and then get out. And that's where we're going to leave it. Alright, back to Golden Films. So the Beast comes out, and Beast is like, do you willingly stay in his place? And she's like, yes, my father will survive if he's held here. I'm strong, I can handle it. And then he immediately has the father taken away by the ghosts. And it cuts to Beauty sobbing in her beautiful room. And the ghosts, once again, are watching her. It's not enough that she is prisoner in their castle. They have to keep watching her in the privacy of her room. That's cool.
Oh, poor thing.
Oh, poor thing, he says, like it wasn't their idea. Beauty falls asleep and she dreams that she hears the same song that she was dreaming before, and she sees the portrait of the prince in the castle. I'm confused. Aren't we in a dream sequence? So we're not in a dream sequence. She's still in the castle, and she really does see the portrait. And she hears her own song.
Do you hear that? I know that song.
Off screen, with her voice, singing. Okay. And she comes across the Beast, singing, playing the piano. As we know, the Beast appreciates the arts. This is great. I wonder how he presses the keys with such big fingers, but fortunately the animation does not elaborate on this because he does not actually play the notes that we hear. And the Beast reveals that he heard it in a dream as well, and now that's the only song he hears. So this guy can play by ear. He's talented. So Beauty tells him that his playing is beautiful, and he's like, nothing I do is beautiful. I'm ugly, remember? God. And he storms off. Like, okay? Don't you want her to like you?
Is she gonna try talking to him again?
I'll have to try talking to him again.
Is she seeing something in him?
There's something in him.
So the ghosts talk about her right within earshot, and she only responds like half the time. I'm confused. Can she hear them?
Tell me she's gonna give him another chance.
I'll have to give him another chance.
I gotta give him a second chance. He may have imprisoned me, but he plays piano. So the table is set for dinner, and the Beast is like, is there anything you need? And she's like, oh no, you've given me everything I could dream for. He's like, can I ask you for something? Anything. Will you marry me? That's in the original story. And she hesitates. She says, I don't know what to say. And then he says, honestly, a really good line.
Say yes or say no, whichever it is. You needn't worry, there is no wrong answer. There is only your answer.
Honestly, is beautiful. I am starting to really warm up to this beast. But when she says no, he guilt trips her. Of course, you could never love me. I'm hideous. I'm a beast. You also kidnapped her. He almost looks like he's Naruto running away.
Is something wrong?
No, I only wanted to. That is, I'd like to thank you for your hospitality.
Of course, you're welcome.
And then he comes in and she's like, you know what's weird? This castle is full of such beautiful things. Isn't it weird that a castle full of such beautiful things? And he's like, yes, I'm ugly, all right? And she's like, no, that's not. And he yells at her, get the fuck out. Because, like, seriously, where was she going with that? I thought maybe she would bring up, like, the portrait of the prince or something, but where was she going with that? And now the beast has his little tantrum. He's breaking things, throwing chairs. Real upstanding guy. And yeah, I know the Disney version also has his temper problems, but like we are 2/3 of the way through the movie and I feel like it should be a little better by now. Belle, running away, eats shit and falls down the stairs and the ghosts are all like, I didn't do it! So the beast carries her back to her room, sets her into bed, and the cat is being like really aggressive and like, so would I in that situation. And the ghosts are like, we're not gonna hurt you. We're too depressed to bother. What do you mean you're too depressed to bother? Were you going to hurt the cat? Now the ghosts are giving the beast's backstory to the cat. Why are they telling the cat this? So we learn that there was this big drought in the kingdom and all of the people came to visit the prince who was doing just fine. He had plenty of grain stored up. They're like, please, can we have some food? We're dying. And he says, fuck off. So they do. They all leave the kingdom. People die, including the ghosts. Did they even work in the castle? They're just random peasants that just decided to stay here? Why? They were screwed over by the king, and now they're not even haunting his ass. They're doing everything for him. They feel so bad for him. Why? He was a full-grown man, denying an entire village food. And that's not saying I agree with Disney's Beast either.
And we're stuck between two worlds. But if by when the first snow falls, someone falls in love with him just the way he is, if someone sees the good that's hiding in there, then the curse will be broken. He'll be what he was, and we'll be free to move on.
Okay, so there is a time limit. The first snow, like the first snow this year or the first snow since he was cursed? Has it been less than a year? Hey, wait, didn't it snow earlier? Is he stuck as a beast? That's why he's still a beast in the intro. Apparently, the ghosts can only move on from this mortal realm until after they've helped the beast. Why? The person who wronged them got his comeuppance. Shouldn't that, like, give them peace? Why do they have to help him redeem himself in order to ascend? Beauty wakes up to the beast staring at her, very Twilight-esque. He apologizes for scaring her and gives her a rose, and then it immediately cuts to her in front of an enchanted mirror asking where the prince is. And seemingly in response to her question about the prince, it shows her father dying. She didn't ask about her father, but okay, sure. So of course she wants to go and help her father, but then she sees the prince behind her in the mirror. She turns around and the beast is there. I wonder who the prince is. And then suddenly he yells at her to go back to her room. Either she's in the West Wing or its equivalent, or she is just grounded right now and she's only allowed in her room. Of course, she tells the beast that her father is sick and she has to go to him, and he's like, fine, I release you. I can't keep you here forever. No romantic ballroom scene here. It's sad that we got no romantic moment between them, but at least this beast isn't guilt-tripping her. He's just letting her go.
If you do not return in 1 week's time, by the first snowfall, then I will die of a broken heart.
Never mind, he's guilt-tripping her. He says if she doesn't come back within a week, he'll die of a broken heart. That is part of the original story. So she comes home to reunite with her sick father. No chest of jewels like in the original story, sad. But her sisters are really jealous of her nice clothes and the carriage. And they're like, we're going to keep her here. So her friend tires of waiting for her. And with that, let's switch back over to Goodtimes. Beauty says farewell to her father, and he carries back with him a chest full of gold and jewels as payment for her. But the father's not having it. He's like, how dare you imply that this is anything worth my daughter? Honestly, father of the year right there, that's what we like to see. This guy is way more upstanding than the other father. The Beauty's father leaves, and Beauty says she is ready to meet her fate. But before she does, we hear a new voice.
Well, I should hope not, dearie.
One of the servants, perhaps? Okay, so this is Clara. I like her a lot already. She has a lot of personality, and she is the housekeeper and, well, every other job. And she's magic, apparently. Also, that mysterious wind has been coming from broken shutters. If she's magic, why can't she just fix the shutters? But, oh well. Beauty thinks she's about to die, and Clara is like, oh no, we're eating right now. So the Beauty's like, where's the beast? I thought he was gonna kill me. And then suddenly he's in the room, and he's like, I can't kill you. You're too pretty. I can't do it. I just can't bring myself to do it. You're too perfect. I can't kill you. This is your castle now. I will give you everything. And honestly, that would be me if I had a beautiful woman living in my house. So Beauty thanks him for sparing her life, and he's like, I'm going to visit you every night while you eat, and then maybe someday you'll be my wife. Hello? Again, part of the original story. He walks away, and Belle's like, man, poor guy, he's so ugly. So Beauty is trying to find her room, and she gets jump scared by what she thinks is a ghost, but it's actually Clara covered in a sheet. And thank God I did not want more ghosts. I actually like Clara a lot. She's a very fun character. Not like the ghosts. I want to kill them a second time. Beauty comes into her room. It's beautiful. It's lavish. The bed isn't against any walls. That's more terrifying than anything in these movies, honestly. So that night, Beauty is visited by a fairy, and she's like, oh, you're here to tell me that the beast is actually really nice, right? And she's like, what? No, I'm here to tell you the beast is evil and not to be trusted. He may act nice, but really he's got a heart of stone. And like, yeah, he kidnapped her, and he was going to kill her or her father. Like, of course he's evil. And Beauty's like, no way, my kidnapper's evil. So Belle is with Clara gathering roses for the greenhouse, and Belle's like, oh, isn't this wonderful? And Clara's like, yeah, sure. I love Clara, dude. She's like if a real person was in this fairy tale world. And she's like, yeah, to you it's great. Who do you think does the work around here? And Beauty, in her fashion, says nothing. And is like, let's show these to the beast. Really male-centered of her. Apparently, Beauty's been here for half a year. That's more of a timeline than we got in the other movie. And even more than the Disney movie. He takes her out on the balcony, and they have the romantic dance from the opening. We love to see it. You know, I'm starting to actually like this beast. I might as well give him some of the same forgiveness as I've given the Disney beast. I wish we had more moments between them, but so far we haven't seen anything really bad coming from him ever since they first met. So the beast once again proposes marriage. Beauty once again says nothing, and the beast sulks. He tells her her friendship isn't nearly enough, and yet there's nothing he can refuse her. So naturally, she asks to see her father again, and he's just like, you foid! You're taking advantage of me! She begs him to at least go home for a week, and he says, fine, but not a day more, or I will die. And he gives her a magical ring and says to go to sleep with it, and she'll wake up at home with her family. This is also from the original story. So Beauty falls asleep with the ring on, and she dreams that she's running home, and on the way, she meets the fairy again, and the fairy's like, now's your chance. Don't come back. The beast will die. And she's like, well, I don't want him to die. And the fairy's like, well, actually, did you know that there were girls before you? Yeah, they thought he was nice too, and guess what? He killed them. Hear their screams. They're spirits. So I guess there are ghosts in this movie. God damn it. But at least they're not annoying side characters. With admittedly really catchy tunes. So Beauty rushes downstairs, and her father is so happy to see her, and they gather around the table, and they all share what has gone on in the last 6 months. And the sisters very loudly conspire to let the beast die, in earshot of the others, enough for the father to be like, girls, is there anything you want to share with the class? Okay, we got 8 minutes left of this. Let's switch back to Golden Films. So Beauty Sisters decide to keep her busy doing all the chores and everything to keep her stay longer than she should. And then they decide to ride to the castle to kill the beast themselves. I thought they were just going to let him die. Why are they risking their lives? Honestly, I wouldn't mind if you killed them. What was their plan? They walk up behind him and start talking to him, and he doesn't even roar. He just kind of, and they run away screaming. What were they planning to do? So the beast collapses, and meanwhile, Beauty has a dream that the beast is like, why did you leave me? I knew it. You don't really care about me. And then the beast falls down the stairs and dies, I think. And oh, look, it's snowing. Guess I'll die. Honestly, we could have had him dying of loneliness. They didn't have to add the artificial deadline also. Not that I'm crazy about either one, but like, why are they doing both? Beauty arrives to find the beast dying at the bottom of the stairs, and meanwhile, the sisters are back in the village riling up an angry mob. Why didn't they do that in the first place? Why did they go over on their own? What was their plan? So the angry mob comes into the castle, and the ghosts try to shut the door, but they can't, and they come upon Beauty and the beast, and she's like, no, stop, I love him! And he's as surprised as we are. Suddenly, through the door comes a shining ball of light, and it's the Enchantress. So the Enchantress comes and uncurses the beast, and he's human again. And he goes, Beauty, you're like the best person ever. Will you marry me, please? And she kisses him, and then everyone cheers. And then it cuts to their wedding, and they ride off into the sunset. And the ghosts are still there. Weren't they supposed to move on? Are they stuck as ghosts? These credits are fun. We get to see the best musical number again, get into the spirit without any of the annoying sound effects. That's actually really good. You know, I can't help but notice there aren't any voice actors listed. I wonder who... Charles Martinet was in this? Mario? You told me Mario played the red ghost. That doesn't redeem him enough. I'm sorry. I still hate the ghosts. Overall, I'd say this movie was a serviceable retelling of Beauty and the Beast. It had some good moments, but it was really brought down by all the slapstick and some weird choices they made. Beast was almost likable in some points, and then immediately brought down again. But the Beast has unlikable moments in every adaptation, so it's hard to really say if this is the fault of the movie. And with that being said, let's move on to Goodtimes. Now in this movie, the sisters take a different approach to keeping Beauty around. Instead of keeping her busy with chores, they say they want to spend more time with her, and they feign sadness at her having to leave. So Beauty decides to stay one more day, and she's going ice skating with her sisters when suddenly Clara appears, and she's like, what the hell are you doing? Where have you been? Get back here! The beast is dying thanks to you! Clara makes her twist the ring, and suddenly she's back in the castle, and she runs around looking for him. The roses are dying, and she finds him right on the balcony where she last saw him, and he is dying. So Beauty cries over his body, and she says, I'll marry you if you stay alive. And then he suddenly transforms into a guy with the trailer voice.
Many years ago, a spell was placed on me by an evil fairy.
In a world where I am a beast. And then Clara drags in the evil fairy by the ear, because now that her spell's broken, she's powerless. Apparently those two are sisters. And she's like, you two will now rule forever. And then they dance, and then they kiss, and the end. Weird, this one doesn't have any voice actors in the credits either. Let's check IMDb. I don't recognize any of these names, but Beauty's voice actress is so pretty. I wonder if she's in anything I recognize. She was in Happily Ever After. I recognize that movie. My grandma had it on VHS. Although, looking at this trailer, I don't think I've actually seen it before. Well, I know what we have to do next. Although, this is a sequel to Snow White, and both studios have done Snow White. And pretty famously, Disney has also done Snow White. And unlike Beauty and the Beast, they actually stuck pretty close to the original story. I think this calls for a triple feature. But before we do that, here are my closing thoughts on the Goodtimes Beauty and the Beast. Overall, it gave things way more time to breathe. Despite coming in at almost the same runtime as the Golden Films movie, everything feels way more fleshed out, definitely because we had all the extra time we saved from the slapstick and the musical numbers. I'm a little disappointed at the lack of time we got with the Beast, but overall, pretty good. I think we're gonna call it here, Dreamers and Believers. I'll see you next time where we review all 3 Snow Whites and the sequel, Happily Ever After. Ah, fuck, it's snowing. Ah, fuck, it's snowing. Guess I'll die. It'd be fun if you could, like, see the ground in this. Ah, shit, it's snowing. Guess I'll die. Ah, these are my work pants. I hope that went well.